Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to embark on a journey like no other. Welcome to the Glum Lot Podcast,
your go-to destination for a unique blend of recovery and discovery.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Mark. And in this podcast, we will endeavor to create a safe and uplifting space for our guests and listeners to share their stories with sincerity and a touch of humor.
Remember, we are not a Glum Lot. The Glum Lot Podcast is more than just a source of entertainment. It's a beacon of hope, proving that even in the darkest moments, recovery is possible. Every story we share carries the power to inspire positive change.
So buckle up, get ready to listen, and join us in discovering the strength that lies within every individual's journey. This is the Glum Lot Podcast, where humor meets hope. Okay, welcome to the Glum Lot Podcast, episode number 36.
I always wonder, does anybody dance to that as it's opening? Like, just a little. It's
I
hard
do.
not to.
I'm always tapping my feet, too. It's a toe tapper.
Did you say? Oh, never mind. It is a toe tapper.
With that flute.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, good
I
stuff,
love it.
man.
It's rousing.
Ron Burgundy. As always, we want to just give a quick shout out to our listeners. Join the Facebook group, the Glum Lot Podcast Facebook group. Please do that. And also, if you have ideas or concerns or want to make comments, go to the Glum Lot Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, the biggest compliment you guys can do for us is if you feel that this is something that would be beneficial to somebody, you know, please share it.
Share the link.
Yeah, on a lot of these, on all of our episodes, there is a share, be it a little square symbol with an arrow in it, but there is a share button, and, you know, we'd really appreciate that. Like I said,
Right.
you know, because somebody might benefit from this, and we can only do so much.
Right, and if you know share, then share it with share.
If you believe in comments. Anyways, but, you know, that's a big deal, and I know in a lot of these podcasting channels, you can't really rate, right? But you can on Apple, and there are a few. So if you notice that you have that ability to rate the podcast, that would help as well, because that's the stuff that helps get the message out.
You know, a 5-star rating would really help us. So
I'm
going to
be, you know, I'm going to be honest about that.
Tip your Uber driver.
Yeah,
that all helps. You know, spread the word. So, what's on your mind today, sir?
Oh, yeah. And I just realized I do that all the time.
You do it
too.
every time you go,
So,
someday I want to hear you go, well, you know, today it's really happy scrappy pop.
I don't have 50 years yet like you.
You don't need 50 years.
I know. But I am a lot happier. I was just talking about it not too long ago. But in order to do that, in order to get to that space, there's something we have to let go of.
What's that?
The past.
Yeah, well, you know, we will not forget the past nor shut the door on it. However, we got to live in the now.
We can't let it dictate our forward.
Right. We live in the now. So let that past be a lesson to us.
Yes.
Let us learn from that.
And one of the first things I learned about that in AA was if you have your left foot in the past
and your right foot in the future,
you're going pee-pee on right now.
I've heard you're shitting on today.
Okay.
That's what I've heard.
Yep.
But like they say, we shall not regret the past. Well, you look back on some of the things you did and you're like, oh my God, I wish I hadn't done that. But you know what? Doesn't matter what you wish. You did it.
Yeah, but I also know, like for me and some others that are, you know, I have people that I work with and some of them are older and they have so much. They wish they could have found this earlier, and they just have a hard time with that, right? I feel like I've wasted, I did all these bad things, and now I only have so much time left to do good.
But boy, you can't live your life like that.
No.
You can't.
No, because now you have that ability, and you wouldn't. You'd be dead.
And
plain
it's
and simple.
Truly one day at a time. And you know what? It's got to be this day.
Right.
That's the only day. So that's important.
This is the moment.
It is.
Yes.
It really, truly
Right
is.
now.
Sometimes it's just this moment, not even the day, you know. And, you know, you learn that early on when you're trying to not drink, that you got to sometimes segment things so you can handle them.
Yeah.
And that's true with every part of life. You can break it down like that and just live your life one day at a time.
Yeah, like the unexpected hiccup. We can get through that.
Oh, my God. I just basically choked on my own hiccup. Yeah. Well, you're going to puke on your face.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
anyway, enough of this nonsense. Let's move on with our exciting guest. This guy's sobriety is just, I'm pretty sure he knew Bill personally.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
He's got a lot of sobriety, a lot of wisdom, and he's truly an old schooler, which is always great. And he's a good dude. You know, he's a good guy. So without further ado, let's welcome Jim. Jim, welcome to the Glum Lot Podcast.
I'm excited.
So glad to have you here. Let's start with your sobriety date.
My sobriety date is April 5th, 1985. It's my bartender's birthday.
Oh, how nice.
So we're coming up on 39?
40.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. Nice.
Yeah, Mark's right behind me.
I am.
Nice.
You've been around a few 24 hours, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So we usually like to start out with your first experiences with alcohol, usually when you're a teen or a child, you know. Can you tell us about that?
Well, when I was younger, I was probably 7 or 8 years old. My mother used to give me Seagram 7 Crown on a cotton swab to help with a toothache. So it kind of burned, but I kind of liked the taste. And after that, I never really drank until I was about 17 years old.
Okay.
I was kind of a nerdy kid because I was involved with the band and I was involved with ham radio in high school. So
you weren't in with the heavy party crowd or anything, right?
No.
But at some point in your high school career, alcohol became something to try.
Well, when I was 17, during Easter vacation, one of my best friend's parents went away, and his father was a doctor. So we went over to his house, and we took a little blend of everything in his father's liquor cabinet. And I got blackout drunk that day.
I was going to say, that's always a really good way to go.
Yeah, you did the world tour of the...
Around the world, we used to call it.
Yeah, I passed out and woke up the next day. And it's the only time I ever missed tennis practice when I was in high school. I was so sick. I was sicker than a dog. I could hardly move. And I just went home and I rested up for another 2 days or so. And then I went back to the tennis practice. But, that was bad. I was never going to drink again.
That sucked. Why do people do that to themselves?
That was like my first time when I was 17. Same thing. I just felt like trash. Oh, why do people do this?
But yet, at some point, you decided to drink again.
Well, at graduation, I went to a couple parties with my girlfriend. She actually got drunk. And I took her home and made her coffee and sobered her up a little bit. But that summer I went out and I did a little experimenting with friends of mine. They went out to different fields and stuff and brought a couple cases of beer with them.
Yeah, the old field party.
Yeah.
We've heard plenty of those
the
stories.
country type parties. You go out in the cornfield or
or a cemetery was always big.
Yeah, do a little cow tipping.
Yeah. So,
But I never really got, I never got drunk.
Did you have a fear of that because of your first experience?
Well, not really.
Okay.
I just, I wanted to be part of the party, so.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember did you fall in love with the feeling?
I just like the action of being around, all
People.
the party and stuff, yeah.
I mean, we always talk about, I drank for effect.
Yeah.
So I like that warm, you loosened up, lowered inhibition, anything's possible.
Yeah, that was kind of an acquired taste. It took me a couple of years to do that, yeah.
So,
but then I went on to junior college and I turned 18. Back when I was a kid, you could drink when you were 18.
Yeah.
And I got a sheriff's ID card.
Yeah.
In those days, draft cards were big. But if you got a sheriff's ID, you had the right ID.
I see.
And one time I was going up to the St. Lawrence to my father's camp. And I stopped at a place in the north side of Syracuse. It's a famous Italian bar. And I showed the guy my proof, and he thought I was a deputy sheriff at Broome County because he'd never seen one of those before.
You know something funny? I had the same experience in that Back when I was a kid, the day you turned 18, you went down to the sheriff's department. You got your sheriff's ID.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was accepted to buy booze in bars everywhere, without question.
Well, sure.
And then your friends took you out. Well, I was hooking up with this girl, and I was probably 19, and we were out together one night, and we decided to get a hotel room. And I went to the Holiday Inn.
Dog.
I went to the Holiday Inn, and he said, ID. I paid with cash. This is back in the day. Yeah, ID. I gave my sheriff's ID. He goes, oh, you're a sheriff. You get a discount. And I didn't say no. I'm like,
Just don't tell anybody what you saw here.
That's right. I get a discount, and I'm a sheriff. Because he didn't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
You know? So I same type of thing. But so.
That was before cameras, too. You wouldn't do that today.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Before they could trace your identity, you were really an anonymous, being back then.
Yeah.
So, at some point, obviously, you fell in love with alcohol, right?
Well, I went to junior college in Binghamton where I grew up, and I partied quite a bit with, my friends. We used to go out on Friday nights. And, I don't know, one night we drove up to Cortland. One of my friends wanted to see his girlfriend at Cortland State. So coming back, we had a bad accident.
That you were in?
Yeah, I was driving. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I put 3 guys in the hospital.
No shit. Were you drinking?
Well, we've been drinking, but I wasn't drunk. And I wouldn't have passed the test, I'm sure.
Yeah, so legally you were
no,
drunk, but it's not like you were wasted either.
Yeah.
But back in 1965, they didn't have anything called drunk driving, really. There's no laws like they have today. But anyways, after that, I swore it off. I said I was never going to drink again.
Yeah, because you affected others. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did that last?
That lasted about maybe a month.
Oh, holy God. I got to give you credit.
What
because
remorse.
Every time I said that, it didn't last 24 hours. So a month is pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And then you got back into it. And
Yeah, then I graduated from junior college. I went on to Oneonta State. And I was going to go to Albany State because they have a very good math program. But I went to Oneonta because... when I got off the bus for my interview, all I could see was neon bars all the way up and down the street.
you thought this is going to be a good fit for me.
Yeah, and it was 4 girls to every guy. So
Oh, the ratio was
Holy
good.
moly.
The ratio was good. The ratio of the bars was good.
From a local movie, the odds were forever in your favor.
yeah, and I knew some of the tennis team because I'd played against those guys in high school. So it kind of all fit. Mm-hmm. And
Is that where your drinking really escalated?
well, I did have a good time there. My son will tell you that C's get degrees, and
Right?
C's get degrees.
yeah. When I graduated, I didn't graduate. I had to go back to summer school and take another couple courses to
Get
get
some
out.
more credit hours to make the mark.
Yeah.
So you graduate from college, and where do you go from there? Do you go out and get a job?
Yeah, I get a teaching job.
Mm-hmm. And so are you still drinking every day? Or
Well, a couple times during the week.
Yeah.
And on weekends.
But it's not a problem in your life?
Well, not really.
So you're managing it. You're keeping a job. You have a wife and family at this point? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has your wife ever say anything about your drinking?
I don't think so, no. Not at that point.
So it really wasn't a problem. It was just a way. It was just your life, right?
Yeah.
It seemed fairly normal to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did there come a time when things started to get a little bit grittier because of drinking?
Well, in 1972, I was teaching summer school, and the last day I went out, we had a luncheon, and then I went out after, and I ended up out in Salve. I gave a friend a ride home. I was way out of my territory, and I ended up being pulled over and arrested by the police that night.
Okay, so 1972, you get your first DWI. Was it called a DWI
Well,
then?
it wasn't called that then.
What was it called? Driving under the influence of alcohol?
It was called Get on the Other Side of the Road, you ass.
So you get arrested, they take you and they book you?
Yeah, yeah.
And you got to
they
make
locked me
bail
up.
or anything like that?
Well, my wife had to pick me up the next
Okay.
morning. Yeah.
And so as part of your processing, do they put you through a kind of evaluation for alcohol? Were they doing that
Well,
back
for
then?
that one, they just took my license.
Okay, so they take your license, and did you have to go before the judge and get sentenced and all that noise?
Yeah, that was very brief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get probation?
No, I just lost my license.
Cut and dry.
For how long?
Yeah.
Probably 6 months.
Okay.
But that didn't matter. I mean, I still drove.
Yeah, well, like most good alcoholics,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, yeah, I don't have a license anymore, but I can still drive.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
What are the odds that they'll...
So it doesn't occur to you that alcohol might be a problem at that point?
No.
So you have it was more of a bad luck situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong
I'm in
time.
complete denial at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what happens after that?
Well, then the next year, I believe it was the next year, the last day of school, I went out with a few people, and I ended up in my neighborhood hitting a parked car, and that didn't go over too good with the guy that I hit. And he called the sheriffs, and obviously they came and took me away.
You got another charge?
Yeah.
Now, see, you were just going out for a simple probably dinner or something to celebrate the end of the school year, right? You probably didn't think that this would happen.
Well, I was pretty blasted by then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Later in the night.
No, right. But when you originally got out of school, were you planning on getting hitting a car?
Oh, I was going to be home by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
I mean, that's a normal thought, right?
Yeah.
And then
and
we get
so
into
you
this.
get the second one a year later. Are you starting to think maybe I'm drinking too much?
Well, my attorney asked me to go for an evaluation, and I don't know. I had to do all this crazy stuff just to make everyone happy.
Mm-hmm. So did you basically tell them what they wanted to hear?
Well, I went for this evaluation at one of the hospitals up by the university, and the guy I got, he said, he asked me how many times I got drunk in a year or in a month, and I said, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And he said, if you get drunk more than twice a year, you're an alcoholic. So I'm thinking, holy shit.
I was an alcoholic on January 2nd. Jesus.
So I had to run back to my local bar and let all those guys know that they're all drunk.
Yeah.
You guys got a problem.
Breaking news.
And so did you just think, well, that's not true?
No, I did everything I was supposed to do. I used to have to go to a class on Saturday mornings, and so I'd go to that class, and it's the only place I could drive to because they had what they call a conditional license.
Yeah.
It's called the Brown license back in those days. And you could drive to work and back in 1 hour of leisure time and to any kind of class that you had to go to. So.
And are these the classes where they teach you blood alcohol content and metabolizing alcohol over time, and you can only have one? Basically, trying to teach you how to drink so that you don't get drunk enough to get arrested. Is that one of those deals?
Well, yeah, and it was a lot to do with driving while drinking, because it was New York State motor vehicles.
Right.
And but I used to go from there over to my local pub. And because they had
For reflection on
they
what
had
you had
specials
learned.
before all the football games between 10 and 1. So I'd get out of that class about 11 and I'd race over there so I wouldn't miss the specials.
Good thinking.
I mean,
Then I'd go to the football game.
So
right to the football game.
at any point did anybody tell you, or did you ever think of going to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting?
Not at that point, no.
Okay. So you get the second DWI, you work your way through that. What happens next?
Well, I'm trying to remember. I think my lawyer asked me to go to counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the first interview, and this lady, she was very professional. She asked me to go to an AA meeting, and so I said I would, and then I went to 7 in a row, and I went back.
Wow.
Like one day after another?
Yeah.
Did you raise your hand and say, this is my first meeting?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that first meeting was like? Did you hear part of your story, or did you relate at all? Or?
Yeah, I came in the back door of it. It was a church.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of real old guys there. And I heard a lot of my story. And right after the meeting, I went back out the back door like the back door I came in. So I didn't stay very long. And but I went to 7 meetings in a row. And she thought that was terrific. But the next week, I only went to 3 or 4, and then, after a while, I didn't need to go anymore because I had it all figured out.
Sure.
Now, are you drinking all the time during this period? Or had you put the drink down for a little bit?
I think I backed off for a while because I wanted to look good for the judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to court. What happens? What is the dispensation of your...
Let's see, what happened to that one? I think what happened there was I think I lost my license again. I got the temporary conditional license.
Yeah, the brown license, as you call it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you kind of slide through that one and you work your way in, and what happens next?
Well, it just sort of gets a little bit worse. And in 1980, on April Fool's Day of all days, I was coming home, and this guy in front of me wasn't going too fast. He was only doing about 35.
He was only doing about 35 and a 35?
Yeah.
Son of a
Annoying.
bitch.
Yeah.
Man.
So I passed him on a double solid line. And so he followed me home, and he went to my neighbor's house and called the sheriffs. And so obviously they arrested me. Well, they gave me an appearance ticket. I didn't have to go to jail.
Was it for drunk
It was
driving?
for reckless driving.
Okay, but not alcohol.
Wow, with no proof or anything.
No,
Okay.
The guy shows up. He was driving bad.
Yeah.
Take him in.
So did you get a lawyer for that?
I got a lawyer.
Yeah.
And did he get you out of it?
The lawyer I got was another one of the guys who was my old bartender. And so he strung it out for like 3 years.
Holy crap.
So I finally had to go. I went to court in March of '83, and I didn't drink on St. Patrick's Day because my court date was March 18th, the day after. So I went there and I won my case. So the next day was St. Joseph's Day, so I had to go out and celebrate.
There's always a saint available to drink about, right?
Yeah. So, anyways, I had to appear in court, and during that trial, my attorney asked the guy he said that my eyes looked like they were pinwheels, and
What are you, a cartoon character? Were there birds flying around your head?
Actively moving pinwheels.
so then he said, did you ever ask him if he had a drink? And the guy had to be honest or he'd perjure himself. So he said, no, I never did. So as soon as the jury heard that, they figured, screw it. This guy's innocent.
Right, it's hearsay. Yeah.
So, but in that trial, my lawyer went on to become the district attorney, so he couldn't prosecute me. So he had an associate of his who went on to become a federal big deal.
So you're really getting into the court system. You're really starting to know these people, man. Yeah. They're like, oh, that's Jim. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
So that was your third legal event. And is there more?
Well, at this time I'd been to AA a couple times, and they told me it was going to get worse. It wouldn't get better, and it was getting worse.
Okay.
And at the time, I had a guy that was sponsoring me.
Oh, so you're actively kind of a part of AA while you're still drinking?
Yeah, I'm in and out.
Yeah,
because I'm going back to listen to my stinking thinking.
Yep.
Ooh.
And so what I did was, I think it was the third time I had to come back. This was in the early '80s. I called up my sponsor, and I had him meet me at the group I became a member of, and he'd been a member there for years. So I came back that night, and I've been here ever since.
Really?
Yeah.
And you've been clean ever since?
Yeah, since April 5th, 1985.
Wow.
So.
Nice. So I bet you haven't gotten a DWI since you quit drinking, right?
No.
Good.
No. And I haven't called my lawyer for anything.
You put him out of business, right?
Except for my trust.
So during this time...
Now they want me dead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's all set. So during this time, was there any family issues? Did your wife say, geez, you really got to do something about this? Anything like that?
Yeah.
Job, too?
Yeah, my job was going down the drain. I I actually resigned from teaching before they fired me. They had sent me to a rehab. I think it was in '82. They sent me down to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I came back from that, and I was pretty good for quite a while.
What was your rehab experience like? Because '82 there weren't a lot of rehabs, right?
Yeah,
So you go down to Philadelphia. You realize you got a problem, right?
yeah. By then.
Yeah. And so you check in. They detox you.
Yeah,
And then you start getting into the general population where it's the meetings and the self-evaluations. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you get anything out of that?
yeah. I my counselor was a retired New York City police officer, and I did my fourth and fifth step with him the first time, and they asked me to speak to the whole group, which was probably 50, 60 people, and I got a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you come back after your rehab. You come back. You're full into AA.
How long were you there? I didn't.
I was there 28 days.
Okay, so a full course.
And they gave me the pots and pans to clean every night.
Oh, some service
That was
already.
my duty at rehab was pots and pans.
You're going to be on pots and pans, Jim.
Yeah.
Better than potatoes.
So you come back and you spring right into AA?
When I came back, I can't remember. I think I must have gone back to my home
meetings,
group.
yeah. So you get the sponsor. You start working the steps?
I worked a lot of them in rehab, and then I worked some more with my sponsor. Yeah.
But at this point in your life, do you admit to yourself, I'm an alcoholic?
Yeah. By then I knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my life is unmanageable.
Yeah.
And I got to work on it.
Yeah.
And so you do start the work, right?
Yeah.
Were there any other substances that you had to overcome?
No.
Just the booze.
No. I had friends that
Yeah.
smoked a lot of grass, and in fact, one of my best friends. I mean, he got rich selling this stuff over the years, but he died of cancer when he was 55, I think.
Jeez.
So I know I've been with you at meetings, and I've always wondered about this. You often mention a gentleman called Bushel.
Oh, Bushel.
Yeah, can you tell us about him and your experience with him?
Well, back in the old days, the Irish used to all meet on the west side, and Bushel was, and another guy named Francis Shields. They were both always there.
They're both Irish guys.
Yeah, they were always there.
And
Bushel was he was a grufty old guy. He was a plumber, and he didn't speak a lot, but when he spoke, you listened.
Now, I'm assuming you were Irish as well.
I was just going to say, for the listener, Jim is very Irish.
Yeah, I'm very Irish.
He's Irish as they come.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but he used to he had a real good message.
Yeah. So when he spoke, it was like, all right, this is going to be
The room got quiet. And
He's going to lay some wisdom on you.
Yeah, we used to have a big meeting on Sunday nights, and there was we used to split the meeting. There was probably 60, 70 people, and they'd split the meeting, and those guys would always be there. And they'd be there on the west side on Thursday nights. They'd always be there. Used to meet at a church on the west side.
So that was your kind of home base?
Yeah. I kind of attached to another guy named Whitey, who...
Whitey Bulger?
Not the same guy.
we got the plumber, Bushel, and Whitey. Okay.
You know what's funny is...
Whitey K.
Old AAA had a lot of nicknames.
I love it.
Now all the names are whatever the guy's name is and what he does or what he's known for.
Oh, right.
Elevator Steve.
Yeah.
Matty Dale Jim.
Yeah.
Tom, the funeral director.
Yeah. But anyway, so...
Whitey used to go to... I used to go to a lot of meetings, and Whitey would be there. And in those days, you had to bring your own decaf because they didn't...
They only made high
second.
test?
Yeah, right. So, but I got a real great message from him, and he was the attraction for me to keep coming back. One of the guys, but there are tons of Irish guys over there that they hadn't had a drink in years.
So what was with Bushel?
Yeah.
Whatever Bushel said, I know it stuck with Jim because he will say, like Bushel used to say, and then it would be a real simple AAism, like old
stinking
school,
thinking.
yeah, just like old school truth.
Yeah, alcoholics think too much.
Yeah, little one-liners, right?
Yeah, alcoholics make bullshit into reality. Yeah, those are the kinds of things you'd say.
Pole vault over fly shit.
Yeah.
So, have you worked with other people? Have you sponsored other people in the program?
Well, this is quite a while ago down at Tully Hill.
Tully Hill, for those of you out there, is a local rehab.
Yeah,
here.
right.
So,
There was a guy that was a retired dentist, and I used to be the contact for my area for guys getting out of the rehab.
Oh, okay.
So I'd go down there and visit with them, and then they'd get out.
and they'd have a contact on the outside to start.
Right. And I'd take them to a couple of meetings, and then they'd disappear a lot of times. But I had one guy that used to, guy named Chuck. He's long gone now. He moved out of the area. But he was one of my successes. So,
Yeah.
But I've helped other guys with different things. We had one guy. He actually needed an operation for a hernia. But anyways, I helped him out a little bit financially, and other guys, different things. Well, I used to give people a lot of rides in the old days.
Yeah.
So.
And I can, speaking from my experience, Jim was a big help with me in helping me realize that I've got 3 beautiful kids, right? And he'll see them on my Facebook page, and every time he would see me, he says, you got to be here for those kids, and those things, that was really special.
Sometimes
to me.
those little mentions really make you think. And a lot of it is when you're a really busy person, you ignore the gratitude part of this program. Yeah. And you really it's got to take somebody to stop you and say, wait a minute, you're okay. You're in a good shape.
Yeah.
You got a good job. You got a good family. You got a nice car. You realize what you have.
And that was the perfect reminder for
because
me.
You're so focused on what you want and what you don't
then
have.
I had terrible guilt that I was there and not with them, right? Yeah. But, he was always there to remind me of that,
Now, did your wife ever get involved in Al-Anon or anything like that?
No.
Does she know a lot of your AA people?
Well, she knows some of them.
Yeah.
Like, we've been to lunch and dinner with them.
Yeah.
Like my golf partner. I mean, I've known him for years.
Do you golf better now that you don't drink?
I don't think I ever played golf when I drank.
Oh, really?
No, I never.
No time for that.
No.
I used to go out with a 12-pack and play 9 holes.
Yeah. I had open heart surgery in 1995, and my kids took me to Myrtle Beach, and they made me take up golf.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Because I was a tennis player all my life.
I played tennis in high school as well.
Yeah, I played all the way through college.
Yeah. Do you play pickleball at all now?
No, I never tried it yet.
A lot of tennis players go to pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I play.
I saw it at the Y not too long ago.
It's definitely a lot of fun.
Even at my stature, I think I could,
You know what?
take that on.
I play against people that are like very unathletic, overweight, and older than me, and they kick my ass.
So he means like me.
No, you're not older than me.
Oh, that's the only difference. God, I love you.
But yeah, it's a great game, and you don't have to be super mobile. And if you're a racket sports guy, you'll pick it up like instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun. Although there are a lot of injuries.
When I was younger, a lot of my mother's families, they're lawyers and judges and stuff. They're all dead now. But anyways, they took me up to a place in the Adirondacks where I learned how to play tennis.
Yeah. I learned how to play tennis up in the Adirondacks too.
Come on.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Old Forge tennis courts.
I learned at Rocky Point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small world. The old Adirondack Mountains tennis birth.
Yeah.
So, at this point in your life, you're still working the steps, right?
Yeah. But I want to step back.
Yes.
Way back in '73, when I was still drinking, my brother was killed. My kid brother. So that gave me a good reason to drink.
Of course.
So
yeah,
that sent me on my way.
Like most alcoholics, the way to deal with emotions that are big is to just drink them down.
Oh yeah.
Settle them down, and that takes care. And then you just never face them.
Yeah.
And then,
especially during that time, it's only just recently now that we're exploring talking about our feelings as men,
especially for
but
men.
then, oh Lord, I
right,
imagine
and being
not.
an Irish, you're not drinking enough, right? And I was told that at a bar once. I was bitching about my life, and the bartender said, "You know what your problem is?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're not drinking enough." I'm like, "Holy shit, he's right." And he bought me a drink.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Thanks, buddy. You solved my problem."
But I always say, out of something bad comes something good. And my younger son was born about 3 weeks after all that. So,
Nice.
he came out with blue eyes and black hair,
What?
just like my brother.
Wow. Did you?
And now he's 51,
Yeah.
which makes me old.
Does he have no hair now, or?
No, he's got a real mop.
So, looking back, because your first meeting was 70. What did you say?
When was it?
2 or 4.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you think AA has changed?
Oh,
Or is it-
definitely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so, like, in what ways do you think?
Well, the first thing is we don't sign slips anymore. We used to sign probation slips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, in my day, in the West Side, they never let anybody talk unless they had at least 6 months.
Okay, so that was your key to talk. You had
And
6 months.
today, you guys know, you go to meetings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of younger people that they get in there and they just start.
Yeah, it's more of a
Babbling
sharing session than a.
Yeah,
And drug talk was not really tolerated back then.
absolutely not.
Right. And if you talked about drugs, but whoa, this is AA. Now, nowadays, drugs are more a part of people's story than ever, obviously.
Yeah.
And probably more people have been touched by drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, and AA recognizes that, but they say, we want to really focus on that. There are other resources for that,
Yeah.
and that's probably.
Well, in the
And-
old days, I've seen people walk out of meetings if somebody was there that was dual addicted. We used to call it dual addicted.
Yeah.
And guys that were just alcoholic would get up and leave.
I also know that, my first meeting was in 1989, quite a few years after your first meeting. But it was different. You could smoke.
Oh, yeah.
And those meetings were full of smoke. We used to break off into non-smoking,
Yeah.
non-smoking section.
Yeah, you'd
But,
have to go and wash your clothes.
Oh, my God, it was incredible. And like you say, we used to sign the slip. So people that were on probation would come, they'd throw their slip on the table and either leave for the hour, come back at the end and pick it up, or sit in the back of the room and just look pissed off and just come back up at the end and get it stamped and get the hell out of there. Well, after a while, we realized that was just a big waste of our time, too. You know what I mean?
Those were the ones sitting in the back of the room looking at their sneakers, loafers, and slippers.
Yeah, they just want to get
and
out.
come to find out their sneakers, loafers, and slippers. Yeah.
Oh, I've never
get
heard
that?
before, Brad.
I love it.
Wow.
I've been waiting so long to use that.
And we had guys, I used to call him Pat the Painter because he'd always come with paint on him.
See?
He'd come to the meetings every Wednesday night, and he'd get his slip signed. And he did that for 3 years. And as soon as he was off probation, you never saw the guy again.
That's right.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
So
We're among the chosen few.
yeah, we really are. And,
I got a question. We consider you a wise one, right? An old timer. Do you still have anybody that you look up to?
Well, I look up to my golf partner. You know who that is. He's pretty,
Yeah.
did he just get 50 years?
More than that.
56.
Yeah, he's 56 years.
sober.
Yeah,
And still has a hell of a message.
Yeah.
Yep.
he's kind of struggling now, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
he'll be okay.
Yep.
I'll
Life
see him
comes at
tomorrow.
us. It doesn't stop, does it?
Yeah.
Life keeps going. But I was just curious about that because, I know you've got a few that you will talk about. And, I was just curious if that was somebody
Yeah,
you looked
most
up
of those
to.
guys are dead now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So I got to look up to you guys.
boy, that's a stretch, but so after all the decades, people say to me, well, you haven't drank in 34 years. Why the hell do you still go to meetings?
Oh, yeah.
So what motivates you to still go to meetings?
Well, I go for a couple reasons. Number one, I want to see, how my friends are doing, guys that I don't see a lot of.
Mm.
And I'm giving back what was freely given to me.
Nice.
If you come long enough and your thinking changes, you'll get comfortable with the people around you. and then you'll start to enjoy going to meetings.
Yeah, I mean, the fellowship part of the program is a big draw, I think.
Yeah.
And those prejudices and all that do go away. They kind of melt away. And then all of a sudden you're in with a crowd you never thought. The jail to Yale thing, and everybody's just as great.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Well, then after you get comfortable, you learn how to take other people's inventory.
Okay. I know how to fix this guy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's wrong with you.
But I can tell you, when I went to Italy, I was there for 12 days, and I had stuff on my phone, and I had readings and stuff, but it wasn't the same as being at a meeting.
Yeah.
And even with the Zoom meetings, I could never get used to those.
Me neither. I was never a Zoom guy.
Yeah, I wasn't very comfortable.
There
with
is a
that.
certain connection you get when you're talking to the person, right?
yeah.
The body language, the nodding like we're doing right now. I know you can't see it, but we're all nodding. And, those things that help the message sink in a little better.
Yeah, and when there's something going on with people, you like to know about it so you can help them out somehow.
Yeah. And there's the meeting before the meeting after the meeting and all that. Yeah.
There isn't enough of that anymore either.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that because that's when he would tell me these things.
Yeah.
Is after the meeting,
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of that, but I don't think we have enough of it anymore. I know Friday night they go out, but...
Well, everybody's so busy to get back home and get on their phones.
Yeah, that's true, too.
It is. It really is. So.
Sad.
Well, Jim, thanks so much for doing this with us. And, I'm glad that the message of somebody who has so much time in can be put out there for people who are newer and that, they know it's possible to live a long life sober and happy.
Yeah, that's what I talked about it the other night, to be consistent.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Mark.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Jim.
As we wrap up another episode of the Glum Lot Podcast, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who tuned in today. Navigating the path to recovery from alcohol and other substances is a journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and self-discovery. Remember, we're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous, but we're here to provide a safe space for open conversations about the complexities of recovery. Your stories, courage, and resilience inspire us and our listeners alike. If you or someone you know is on the transformative journey, know that you're not alone. Join us next time as we continue to explore the diverse facets of recovery. Until then, stay strong, stay connected, and remember that each day is a step towards a brighter, sober tomorrow. Thank you for being part of the Glum Lot community.